It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Ran, y'all. Pray for your girl. Send me some positive juju. Why is there an inkjet printer just hanging out? Some mess in here. Ooh, what's up? All Odie? I see Hafisa. What? Welcome. What's up, Justin? I'm re-workshopping your nickname. I thought about it, and I think it's just too insular in my head. What's up, Hafisa? It's so good to see you in the chat. Y'all, I mean, let me tell you, the days where I run late, even like by a minute, the days when I run late, those are the days where I'm really excited and probably not as organized or like disciplined in my head. But it's a good thing. So like that's part of the fun, is like having y'all to talk to. Y'all kind of help me either course correct or I don't know. Y'all just gonna help. This is the group live, right? Yeah, it's a group live. It's a group live. What's up, Nicole? How are the triplets? Let me give you multiples that you don't even have again. What's up? Oh, that's why I said, she's new to the situation. So, okay. So Hafisa, welcome. I hope that we'll be able to kind of, it's all over the place. First of all, I know she's not even up probably yet. I'm gonna call her out. But Evelyn, this show has been executive produced by Evelyn, y'all. Y'all know Evelyn, friend to me, friend to the live stream. Evelyn sent me the latest episode of a podcast. She put me onto a podcast called Maintenance Phase a while ago. And I love listening to Maintenance Phase when I go to my orthodontic appointment, because I always have, for some reason, I forget to listen to it. But when I'm in that chair waiting to get my brackets and all that situation straight, it's the perfect time, right? So I listen to Maintenance Phase, and it's all about like debunking all of that fat phobic, all that diet culture, all of that, right? And this week's episode, y'all, Evelyn doesn't know this, but I had already planned to talk about the wellness culture here and how like the yoga culture here and that whole blurring the line between like QAnon and Trump supporters and, the boutique owning glitterati that attacked me, over a year ago over the whole Trump boat parade. Well, there was like an overlap in that community too, that wellness, very thin, very like almost unattainable aesthetic wellness, yoga, Mount Pleasant, O'Neill, plastic surgery, no shade, just calling it out. There's an overlap there, and this might sound trivial, but to me the implications are real. And I talked about this. I mean, I want the tippy top of my bun to show. I talked about this a little bit like almost a year ago on Instagram regarding the pastel Q. Shout out to my follower who put me on game. And so probably we'll revisit that intro that I did to the video, and basically we'll play the video that I posted. I shared. It's a Vox video, of course, it's not mine. And I shared it on IG. I just want, and then so what Evelyn doesn't understand is she and I have never talked about. A few years ago, I was the interim program director at a nonprofit that is no longer in existence. It was around for 30 years. It was called the Center for Women. Shout out to my girl, Allie Titus. Allie Titus has stepped away. She said, hey, do you want to take my spot in an interim capacity? I said, sure. And it was one of my favorite employment experiences, period. But it was a delightful employment experience. It was a delightful employment experience in Charleston, which is really, for me, it's been really difficult to have those. And so my time at the Center for Women, there was a lot of programming that preceded me that dealt with what we're going to touch on. The Marrianne Williamson, what's up, Joni? Yeah, it's a mess, Joni. It's a mess. The Marrianne Williamson self help, and no shade, and I don't want to shade anyone who who reads Marrianne Williamson's book. You know, she's standing next to Oprah, so I can get how she's been given a lot of credibility. She's had all these New York Times bestsellers, but there's this weird overlap between like Marrianne Williamson, the Glennon Doyle, and there was a Glennon Doyle, specifically a Glennon Doyle event that the Center for Women launched years ago, and we're going to revisit that. Marrianne Williamson never did an event for the Center for Women or at the Center for Women, but I brought her up because I was at one of her campaign launch events that was at Workshop here at Om Radio, when Om Radio was at Workshop here in Charleston. And I mean, y'all, when there's so much to unpack, and it all deals with that health and wellness, that self-help lane that's here, that genre. I don't know how to say that. Good morning, DD. Maybe you can help me out with this a little bit too. I have a feeling you got some stories, but let me let me switch up some stuff real quick. I'm gonna switch the screen in a second. Hold on one second. I just gotta get my life together. Y'all, I just want to get into this, and I want to unpack it. I'm gonna open up the newsletter that went out this morning too, and we'll start there. Yeah, how about that? We'll start there. So let me switch up real quick. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. All right, so this is the newsletter that went out this morning. You could tell this is not my best work. I just threw this out, but I wanted y'all to get the point, right? So Charleston's wellness problem, and this image right here is from the Vox article, and but they've also created the video that we'll share. Here's a picture of Glennon Doyle. No shade. There's a cue here. Yep. Good morning, Meg. Yep. I don't. D, drop in the chat. Is Marrianne your girl? I don't know. No shade. Just a different look. Just look. I just like with all the content I create, I just want us to look at things from a different perspective. I don't want people to just abandon things because that's the thing. Like I tell y'all often, please don't come to either Charleston Activist Network Instagram or podcast or this live stream looking for me to give you a list of things to do and not to do. Now there's some bad actors here. There's some organizations and some practices that I will condemn, of course, right? But some things that I feel are just a part, just a thing, not at all the most violent. Woo! There you go, D. Thank you. Thank you. What's up, Captain Glitter? So like, I don't want you to like, oh, Mika said it's bad, drop it. Unless it's something like, like that couple that made that jewelry that was essentially souvenirs from lynchings, naming jewelry after lynched, black men and women and children. Like, of course, I'm gonna shut the fuck out. I'm shut that shit down automatically, right? But for the most part, that's not what I'm trying to do. I really do, hope to have conversations, to start conversations and to continue conversations. That is how we build community. But I am encouraging us to think critically. Now, there's times where, I'm sorry, but y'all's some white foolishness around here is just like, it's out of pocket, and I'm going to laugh about it. I'm going to kiki about it. But outside of that, it's not me giving it a grade or something. I'm not DHEC. I'm not giving these organizations A, B, C, D grades. So that's what we're gonna talk about. This is the picture right here of Marrianne Williamson. She's this was at Dell's on the Making when it was there. Well, all right, curious about my thoughts on Tabitha Brown. I don't know enough about that, but we'll hop into some Tabitha Brown content and drop any details, Hafisa, in the chat that you have. It could be innocuous details, very general, but thank you. Captain Glitter, you dropped in the chat. I feel like every week I drive past a new boutique gym. Yup, me too. West Ashley especially. New boutique gym. And I'm like, damn, please put a restaurant back, right? So yeah, this image is just, I got QAnon stuff up in here, and it's just, wellness here is a mess, y'all. It is. And not just here, a lot of places. The other thing I'm excited to talk about is, I'm a little rusty, I admit. And I'm a little rusty, but I actually had to get these thoughts out. Last week we touched on the Murdaugh family. And I keep calling it to myself. I say they're historically scandalous past, or their historically scandalous history. Historically scandalous history. Let me be redundant. But so I got back onto I hopped back on the mic to create an episode again to help people reorient their focus away from just the salacious, scandalous true crime podcast genre, and encouraging people to think about the implications for our justice system, both here and in other places, the implications of white people being able to consolidate so much power over such a long time, almost 100 years. And what I tried to do here, and I did it on Instagram. Shout out to all y'all that were in my Instagram stories this weekend. The reason why I posted all that historical, archival information regarding the Murdaugh family was because the eyeballs was like heavy. So that's when I've got people's rapt attention. That's when I really think it's important to advance the conversation and to provide more content that would help advance the conversation. And so shout out to all y'all who were sharing the Murdaugh content this weekend. Again, my Instagram, I'm shadow banned all the time. So when I see when I see 2,000 people looking at my stories, for me, that's very significant now. It used to be, around the whole George Floyd thing, and white people was trying to, perform getting themselves right. My pages would get like 30,000 views and all that stuff. 1,400 to 2,000 views on an Instagram story is big for me now, because people's interest in my content has waned, and I think I'm shadow banned a little bit. Not complaining, just acknowledging it. So I talked about a lot of, I basically referenced the content that I shared on Instagram. I don't know how effective I was with this podcast episode, but I wanted to be brief, and I just wanted to introduce a few questions that we should be asking ourselves whenever we consume any type of reporting or content dedicated to the Murdaugh families. I do like the name of my podcast episode, Murdaugh Inc. I know people say Murdoch. I'm gonna keep saying Murdaugh. Y'all know I like to mispronounce white people names sometimes, but I like the name of my podcast episode, right? Joni, you said the IG stories were moving so fast for you. I know, you gotta stop them. You can stop them and screenshot them. That's all right. That's why we here. I got some stuff for you. Yeah, I got some stuff for you. Don't worry. All right. So back on the mic. It's been a long time. I haven't posted a podcast episode. I haven't created one since the Jamal Sutherland case was up and running. So I'm back. I'm a little rusty, but give your girl some clicks. Also, if you got the newsletter, I did a rundown. I did 5 live streams last week. That's a lot. So I put them all here so people can kind of go back and visit the content at their leisure. Did a lot. Did y'all see that raggedy ass turnout in DC? That raggedy ass turnout. I think he was paying the guy that spearheaded the event. I think he was paying people to show up. That was gnarly. All right, so let's get to it. There was some Murdaugh. Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna lean in. There was some Murdaugh news. I liked what CNN did. At least the first few minutes. I liked what CNN did. Y'all can see what I be watching. CNN did a really good 9-minute package here this weekend. No, this is it right here. And I thought it wasn't good like it was talking about the stuff I was talking about, but it was very thoughtful. It was very thoughtful, very kind of it took its time. And 9 minutes, I think, is a really good amount of time to work with. Not perfect at all. You know what? We'll start first. We'll start with the newspaper. That's where we always start. And then we'll hop back over to just a little bit of Murdaugh. I don't want that to dominate this week at all, unless people are more interested in the whole historical aspect that I'm trying to lean into, thinking about the roots of this family and how they got all this power. And then we gotta hop into the QAnon wellness community stuff. Okay. All right. So this is the front page of the Post and Courier. This is something right here. I was waiting for them to post a story on this prominently outside of Chloe Johnson's reporting in real time at last week's city council meeting. I was waiting for them to report more extensively on the Special Commission on Equity, Inclusion, and Racial Conciliation. Adam Parker wrote a story that I definitely plan on reading, and then I want to create an op-ed, not in response to what Adam wrote, but an op-ed in response to what we witnessed last week, the decision to limit public comment to 30 minutes, and the decision to limit public comment to 30 seconds, muting voices, important influential voices like Dr. Felice Knight of the Citadel, so on and so forth. There's a story here about Goose Creek leaning into public art. Oh, yep, that's good to hear. Y'all know I love public art. And then it's this story here. I never knew of this story here. Mr. Henry Bennett, 90 years old, of Ladson. He worked to integrate Black linemen at South Carolina Electric and Gas. So this is a cool story. I'm surprised Adam didn't write this. So I'll probably get into that as well. Today looks like a really pretty, pull out your library card, y'all. And good morning, Kia. Pull out your library card and get into that. But and then you know what? Tomorrow, y'all, I'll tell y'all my views on Adam's piece about the vote, and I'll see how he approached that story. Okay. All right. Real quick. You know what? I'll probably end with Murdaugh. No, we're gonna end with Murdaugh. We're gonna start with wellness. Let me get organized. So I'm gonna open up my. Oh, remember you can listen to my podcast on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you find your podcast. Let's go to my Instagram, right? And let's go to my IG TV, and this was a while ago. I can't remember her name. Maybe it'll pop up on the screen. I can't remember her name, but it was the follower who put me on. And I want to cite my sources as always. Y'all just be giving me so much information. I didn't even know Tabitha Brown was coming. Coming to Charleston. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, for those wondering, I don't have nails. I'm taking a break till I turn 41 Savage. Till I turn 41 Savage, I'll bring them back. I need a break. I got all kinds of issues with my nails. I miss them though. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can play it here from here. Yeah. Here we go. So, and then I'll jump into the actual video instead of watching it on IG here. Or we could watch it here maybe. But basically I created this real quick IGTV video after a viewer put me on. So, and you can see the graphic right here that I use is the same graphic that's on today's image. I'm gonna fix it.
So the other day, a follower by the name of Sarah, she shared a post with me, and that post inspired me to look into the pastel hue that she was talking about or referencing in her post.
Okay, I'll pause it. So yeah, her name is is it Liv Wilder Photography? Oh, I know her. Now I know her. I met her in person. Oh yeah, she gang. She about it. Yeah, so she sent me well, she then reshared my content. And yeah, I think I talked about it. Whatever. And so she wrote this. This is the caption that's worth reading. I know you probably can't see it. I can't make it larger. The day of the inauguration, I felt like I felt something because I've been she's been recruited to QAnon around 3 times over the last 10 months, she wrote, by people she see in her normal circles. So around inauguration, she had been recruited by QAnon 3 times in 10 months by people she sees in normal circles. I have this awful feeling those groups are spreading exponentially. So I took a break the last couple of days, unplugged, hung out with the fam. She sound like my kind of girl. Read fiction. She sound like my kind of girl. Actually finished the book. Right? Hard to do with kids, she says. Well, I'm back today and I'm watching the amazing community. Okay, whatever. I'm all right. And it's flooding again. She says, careful, y'all. Talk to your people, especially in the wellness and yoga and energy healing, especially in the wellness and yoga and energy healing community. Don't let them get sucked in. Might seem hard to think that they could, but Google Pastel Q and then read the January 12th Cosmopolitan article. That's behind a paywall. I can't get around it yet. That article was really good, but it's behind a paywall because they know it's good. Actually, I'm not gonna watch it here. So that's what shout out to you, Live Wilder Photography. So we'll go to YouTube and watch it here. You remember that? That was one of my favorite stories to put together. Because when she told me about this, let me just take you into my mind, y'all. When she told me about it, I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I had no clue. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then my homegirl, Kate, shout out Kate. I met Kate when I was an avid exerciser, when I was really into fitness. Some of y'all met me when I was really tiny, looking like a lollipop or looking like the letter P, because these boobs didn't go nowhere. But like, some of y'all met me when I was at Gold's Gym a lot, and I met so many rad people who still bang with me now to this day. Taylor, Katie, Jenny, and Kate, not Katie, but Kate, my girl Kate is awesome. And she too was like, yo, Mika, it's real. It's real out here. And the reason what brings Kate to mind as well, even though before we jump into this video, Kate had shared some of my content recently and said, like, she was calling the wellness community out, and she does that actively. She called the wellness community out and told them that they had to get their stuff together. Now, I'm not just jumping into the QAnon stuff today. That's not what this conversation is going to solely be about. It's about that energy healing, that yoga, that fitness community here that blurs all these lines, not just the political stuff, not just the Save the Kids hashtag, not just the sex trafficking conspiracy theories, but also how I've seen Charleston, and I got my suspicions were confirmed when I did an article search about those past events that I referenced with Glennon Doyle and Marrianne Williamson. The CVB embraced those events and used their platform to publicize the events featuring Marrianne Williamson and Glennon Doyle and so on and so forth. There is this effort to normalize this nonprofit culture / wellness culture faction of our community, and almost like if your nonprofit isn't in this space of light and love and crystals, and I'm a crystal girl. I got my own, I tell you, I'm a crystal girl. I got, within reason now. Within reason, right? Crystals ain't curing white supremacy, right? My tiger's eye is not going to solve white supremacy, right? My homemade Florida water is not going to end, the carceral state, right? You gotta faith without works is what? Dead, right? Toxic positivity and wellness, right, D? But so there's this nonprofit culture here, y'all know, and that's what I really was going to make the show about today, was about the empty calorie nonprofit work that centers wellness and yoga. And it's this weird thing that Charleston likes to do around a certain aesthetic. And the reason why this really, really, really hits home, not just because my content has an activist message, not just because I used to work for the Center for Women, but because when I first came down here, y'all know, I started Pink Verbena. It was going to be like a home improvement, DIY inspo blog. And it was that, I stopped it, because, Trump happened. My life took me to where I usually be in that space of speaking truth to power. But when I was in that influencer universe, I saw who was successful, who was immensely successful. Now, let me just say this too. Some of these women and men were extraordinarily hardworking. They created beautiful content, but there was this ugliness to a lot of not all, but a lot of the content creation, where I saw Charleston only lifting up a certain aesthetic, a certain type of white woman, a certain type of wellness, this vague spiritual community was very popular. And to see the CVB embrace it, and to see when we got into that little dust up with the MAGA boat parade girls, the first thing they threatened Pepe with was access to commercial spaces in Charleston. not just boutiques that they own, but the things that the CVB, the visitors, they literally threatened to have Pepe, like, her relationship with the CVB severed, right? And that, I'm like, okay, this is all clicking. It's a Venn diagram, but there's so much overlap between Trump, MAGA, wellness, yoga, QAnon. And it's out in influencer culture here. And especially that very slight, petite, blonde woman, or brunette, or strawberry blonde, right? There's this really interesting cross section where all this meets. And let me just stop talking and hop into the video I shared way back when. And there's another video which is too long to show the whole thing. But this one right here, where you see the blonde lady right here, the lifestyle influencer lost her accounts because of QAnon, and that one right there really hit home. But let's play this. Let me pause it real quick. It starts from the tippy top.
There's a certain look that's taken over everything. A certain color palette, kind of font, and design. Today, this visual style sells us meal kits and underwear and monthly toothbrush subscriptions and just about everything else. But it's also showing up here in seemingly harmless, trendy Instagram posts about child trafficking. On Instagram, there are over 800,000 posts like this from social media influencers and regular users with the hashtag #SaveTheChildren. We've seen things like this before. Slideshows about social justice and current events dominated Instagram this summer. But something else is happening here. On Facebook, membership in pages and groups branded as anti-child trafficking grew 3,000% between July and the end of September. By the end of August, in-person rallies started taking place in cities across the world.
And then what's really like, and reason why this also struck a nerve with me too, and why this kind of came into my mind when I wanted to talk about empty calorie nonprofit work that's largely accepted and celebrated here, is because all of this. Oh my God, the kids! Oh my God, we've got to start this nonprofit. It also triggers this really paternalistic response from a lot of these women who lead these groups or these initiatives here, right? And I will say this, and I don't know, I want to be careful, but I also want to be very direct. There's a problematic nonprofit that has nothing to do with Q. I'm not going there, but there's a problematic. I'll get to it later. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it without causing injury. But there's a lot of problematic nonprofits out here that are run by well-meaning white girls who literally just take this aesthetic, take some of this speech, and it's paternalistic. It's not rooted in anything that's actually designed to eradicate. You do the performative thing. You come out with the signs. Oh, the kids, right? You might show up at a mutual aid event, but you really don't do anything that would help eradicate these issues, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Child trafficking is hardly controversial.
God wins.
But behind that surge in growth is the baseless conspiracy theory known as QAnon. Now, an ideology once confined to the more obscure parts of the internet is finding its way mainstream, one Instagram post at a time.
Just a little bit of this, and then we're going to hop into the other one for a little bit.
On October 28, 2017, the first of a series of posts from an anonymous user appeared on the 4chan message board Paul. The user was nicknamed Q, after Q-level security clearance. That's the Energy Department equivalent of top secret. The community that followed and believed those anonymous postings became known as QAnon, and they developed an elaborate conspiracy theory lore that President Trump is fighting a global child trafficking network led by satanic, cannibalistic, left-wing pedophile elites. Their theories have been proven false time and time again, but that didn't stop the community from spreading, from 4chan to another messaging board 8chan, and to places like Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And as it did, the posts, videos, and memes explaining its ideology became more accessible and digestible.
Right.
Now, QAnon is a giant entanglement of conspiracy theories with dozens of offshoots that invites all different kinds of conspiratorial thinking into its fold.
The aesthetic part.
QAnon has always been a big tent conspiracy theory that invites people of different beliefs.
So again, okay, so I'm not going to watch the rest of this, but like the parts where I really want us to lean into is that aesthetic piece, right? That aesthetic piece. And this is part of the wellness community's this is my way, not my way, but this is one way I've found to be useful, because a lot of the jargon, a lot of the text or rhetoric that you'd find with these posts are being echoed by a lot of folks in the wellness community. Now, I'm not going to call out any one group today, because I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be a little bit more precise with my aim. Sometimes I'm like and people be catching strays, and I want to be a little bit more precise, and I also want to be way more accurate. But it's something about that aesthetic, and then this part, the woman that's typically, and one thing I will say, I see y'all men out there who just like a cute face and a tight ass. I see y'all lifting up a lot of men with power and influence, lifting up a lot of nonsense philanthropy because the girl look cute. I'm gonna leave it there, and I love you. I'm talking about somebody I really, really admire, but you lifting up a lot of stuff that just don't, like, because it look cute. Like, we got to be a little bit more discerning. Every yoga event ain't it. And even some people I'm in community with. Let me see the chat real quick. I'm gonna let this play, and then I'm gonna read and come back.
Love that. Good, Kate. We're gonna change it up
so
a
beautiful.
little bit more.
That looks so beautiful.
Water.
Look at this.
Oh, love it. That's so good. That is gorgeous.
Amber Nicole Miller has made a career out of getting people's attention. She's a model, a one-time reality star.
I feel like if you don't have a dude, you're just a pro-ho if that's all you date.
And a lifestyle influencer who built a following of about 90,000 on Instagram.
Love that.
So this is exactly it. And again, that overlap between the women that attacked me during the whole Southern Charm, Mr. Goss, and this aesthetic, and then there's so many institutions and popular platforms that tend to lean left, that are promoting women in this field here in Charleston because they look quote unquote hot to them. And that when the desirability politics enter into it, that's how I know it's fuck shit, right? That's how I know it really, like, I'm like, wow, why? What gives this woman credibility? Oh, okay. I'm like, oh, okay, she's blonde and petite, fake boobs, nice hair, or just great boobs. Or if not blonde, if not blonde, racially ambiguous, exotic. Come on, like Charleston love, it's like y'all, we see what's going on, and so to all the men and organizations promoting like bullshit philanthropy that's run by a cute girl, or you know what I mean, like chill out. We see what's going on. How about you look and ask them some fucking questions about their fucking motives outside of, oh, we do great things and we care about people and kids.
Love that. Just a little chin this way.
But in 2020, her post took a much darker turn.
I'm going to do another video touching on the subject of child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and also pedophilia.
Immigrant kids.
Miller was part of a wave of conservative influencers who restyled themselves as activists last year, sharing aesthetically pleasing memes full of misinformation about COVID, masks, vaccines.
And y'all remember, I know I keep stopping, I know this is the worst, but y'all remember how I was like, I'm still on that shit. I'm still on that anti-influencer in activism spaces, right? So when Vanita is out here cooning it up on Southern Charm, right? A black model influencer here. When Vanita's out there cooning it up with the white people that would probably put her in chains had they just rewind the clock back to the 1800s. When she's out there cooning it up, she gained like 40,000 followers at one point, looking just parroting activist speak, parroting inclusion speak. And you just see and it's not, everyone's gonna say, oh, you just jealous. I'm so not jealous of anybody who traffics in that mess, right? In that nonsense. But you see, that's when I start really getting up in arms, because it's offensive. to conflate influencer culture with actual influence on real issues and impact. I'm not saying an influencer can't be. I know some influencers who are dope as fuck, who are really committed to the cause, who are out there organizing or supporting great work, grassroots organizing work. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get a lot of people thinking that, oh, because it's pretty, it must be credible. What? I'm gonna stop stopping there. I'm gonna stop.
Vaccines, the election, and one universal theme, saving children.
Very disappointing.
Today I'm going to talk about
she can always come home, though.
The best defense is a good offense.
Come home.
While these women didn't necessarily use the word QAnon, the language in their posts and hashtags often mirrored conspiracy theories swirling around on Q message boards.
There's some yogis running
leading
around
one
Charleston
expert to give this trend a name, Pastel QAnon. In just a few months, Miller had completely remade her online presence. She even went so far as to start an organization to raise awareness about child trafficking.
We sell these through the initiative, which helps to pay for our seminars.
We went to meet her in the fall to find out how she got to this point.
You're made to be a protector of your child. I think that any mom and dad,
we're hearing this,
if it has the potential to keep their child out of harm's way, they're going to do whatever it takes, and they're going to do the research. I just started following, the hashtags of Save Our Children and end sex trafficking and end child trafficking. And once you start following those hashtags, then you'll start to find people that are a like community and mom community.
Many of the big hashtags that were associated with QAnon were things that you were using on posts and other people who were talking about child sex trafficking. Why were you using those hashtags?
I was noticing that Where Will We Go When We Go All was in their profiles, and I was like, this is a community, and I started looking at the hashtag and I'm like, okay, well, that has a lot of followers and that has a lot of movement. So I'm gonna start using that to get even more. And then I would put Where We Go When We Go All, hoping, that community would kind of get involved as well, because I felt like they were getting a lot of traction with using that.
Did that work?
I feel like it did.
Miller had hashtagged herself into a movement known as Save the Children.
This happened so much
its influencer activists are convinced they're getting the word out about rampant, unreported child trafficking. That message is just a few clicks away from QAnon.
Do not let them normalize pedophilia.
Whose core belief is that powerful liberals are running a satanic pedophile sex trafficking ring.
I think we're all QAnons here.
Save the children. Who doesn't want to save the children? Save the Children is closely connected to the idea of what has been called now QAnon conspiracy theories, that there is some kind of layer of society, probably related to government, some deeper layer, which is out to harm children.
Do you see conversations like Save the Children as being a gateway to other conversations that are more dangerous?
They are definitely a gateway. They're the link between the PG-13 fuzzy trailer and the R-rated content. They're the link, because that's the story.
Good morning, Anna Mark.
The story is saving something, and if you're saving something, you're protecting something, and if you're protecting something, it's because something's coming after you, and if it's something coming after you, it's because you've got an enemy. The notion of saving the children is very reasonable. However, that is not what ends up happening.
I'm gonna pause it right there real quick. I'm gonna try to come back to it. First of all, what's in your cup this morning? I don't think that's yerba mate. You got it. Hey, what's up, B-Man? You got it, right? And thank you for also saying how white supremacy tends to morph and reinvent itself into different, more palatable forms, right? But I thought that was very, not just the fact about white people morphing, but white people trafficking for 400 years. But I thought what was interesting too, if you go back to her hashtag strategy, that's something I picked up on real quick. The commodification of Black pain and oppression. When Save the Children was being, I guess, usurped for a moment at least by the racial justice and social justice and ending the carceral state, that movement work, when that was being dominating like all of Instagram. I benefited from it. I'm sure other similar pages and accounts benefited from all of that that increased attention. Now, I didn't use hashtags like that. I'm not one of those people that search hashtags to see how many people following it and use that. I don't do that, right? But I saw a lot of people coming to my page expecting, following certain trends. And I saw, like I said, the problematic Black influencers too, not just the white people, but the problematic influencers who have no connection to really studying this work and really trying to work towards social justice. You started seeing them do that copy and paste strategy right there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I had a point and I lost it, but let's keep going.
With these groups,
what does end up happening?
What happens instead is they get dragged in and bolster the ranks of the people who also think that the government's out to get them. In the end, it's brilliant marketing.
When you started to
a little bit more
hear that these were connected to Q and QAnon, what was your reaction?
Mad, kind of. Please stop trying to lump me into conspiracy theorists and these people with tinfoil hats, and they're saying, oh, these people are crazy and they live in their basements and they're coming up with all these crazy theories. I'm like, child trafficking is not a theory. It's a real life thing and it happens all the time. I don't want to be dismissed. I don't want to be categorized as this conspiracy theorist because I'm using a hashtag that gets a lot of traffic.
These QAnon groups and hashtags and message boards were driving like 70% of the traffic to the Save Our Children
Look at her act like she don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is that
Look at her.
something that you were aware of?
I'm actually in shock. I was like, I had no clue that was even like a spearheaded movement by them. And you know, if it was QAnon that started it, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Miller is adamant and strategic in denying her connection
that was my point. That was the point. So you heard what she just said? That's the shit that literally will run my blood pressure up, because I've heard that so much in real life. Well, even if it was a Trump support, even if it was started by Trump, what makes it so bad? Saving the children is good, okay, right? It's okay, right? And you'll see this a lot, y'all. I'm telling you, especially in this wellness space. And her husband is Tito Ortiz, an MMA fighter, I believe, with UFC. I don't know if he's still with UFC. So so this woman that I'm talking, this caricature, not even I don't want to call it caricature. The practices that I'm coming for with this in this live stream tend to be occupied by a woman that is somewhat of a caricature. We'll use this woman here as an example. She's attractive. She perhaps has a physical appeal that's probably unattainable, genetic, or maybe just attainable via surgery and severe calorie restrictions. And also women like this, because society hates fat people, because society hates plus size people, and you know there's studies that have been done about how people think fat people are lazy, or people think fat people are not clean, or they're unintelligent. All these things we have because we are a fat phobic society. So especially that's why I know for a fact, especially as I gain more weight over the years, blissfully so. I know that that's been fucking with people's heads, because I'm saying something they want to connect with, but because this vessel, a big, plus size, unambiguously Black woman, is saying these things from a body that they typically associate with serving them grits and serving them biscuits and taking care of their children, or cleaning their houses, or cleaning their hospitals, because this body, this vessel, does not look like this woman. Doesn't look petite, doesn't give you aspirational vibes, you know what I mean? Just vibes, no content, no real substance, just vibes. Because and this is okay, and I really hope I don't get in trouble with this. But when I was friends and I fucked it up already. When I used to create content for a prominent performer here, based here in Charleston, that happened to be male, I had an inordinate amount of creative control over the IG feed. And when I tell you, I would, put my broccoli in with his mac and cheese, and people thought it was authored. I'm not talking about his thought or intellect. I'm talking about content. I'm talking about content that had a specific message that I'd research. When I create that content and float it through his account, right? Oh, widely accepted because it came from a male voice that was attractive and that was deemed more valuable. The same shit. I'd say the same shit over here, crickets. I say the same shit on the radio, crickets. I say the same shit on the op-ed, crickets. I say the same shit on the stage, Charleston 7 and 7, crickets, right? No, not crickets, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? But when you floated through, and that was like my own type of like sociological experiment, that it's the vessel that people are conflicted about. And when this body is not deemed desirable, I want to make this 100%. I want to make this 100% clear. I know I'm fine. I'm fine as fuck. I'm a fucking prize. I'm a catch. I'm a 10. Like I have no issues with that. That part, I don't have no self-esteem. My mama always told me I was all that in a bag of chips. And I believed it, right? But I know what society thinks of me. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be talking about all these isms and not talk about fat phobia and other things too that make my life hell here in Charleston. Let me read the comments too. But I'm telling you, when women like this say what she just said, well, even if it came from QAnon, it's still good. No. The source matters. Its origins matter. The agenda matters. The politics, the partisan politics matter. Because we know MAGA is not a cogent political point of view. MAGA is white supremacy, rebranded to make you think that it's nothing but just some demagogue saying some shit that we done read and seen. Shit, for the last month, I've been stuck in the 1930s and 40s newspapers all throughout the South. When I tell you the stuff that I be reading, I'm like, oh, this shit, they be saying this today. Oh, look at Hitler over there. Oh, look at Strom Thurmond. Oh, look at them trying to suppress the black vote. Like you know what I'm saying? So there's nothing new about this type of demagoguery, but for some reason, because we give it some highlights and some new titties, like it's supposed to be more credible than the black girl with lived experience. Does that make sense? What? The source matters. B-roll matters. The source matters. You love it? Oh, you saw me in Charleston 7 and 7? And there's a story behind that too. Shout out to what's her name? The girl that sweet girl. What is her name? She runs a nonprofit too. And we had this real conversation about like her doing better and her hiring better because she's a white girl that's in these Title I schools servicing black kids, and her staff wasn't black. I'm like, yo, what's up, ma? And she was so fucking receptive. Sorry for cursing because she's real Christian, but she was so receptive. And only reason why I did that is after we talked about, I'm saying, look, I'm not Mayor Tecklenburg. I'm not going to be up there talking about shishi foo-foo. And she's like, that's okay. And she let me blow it up, and I blew it up. All right. Good morning, Denise. Good morning. The narrative matters. It really does. Jessica, you wrote, it is a movement that makes idiots feel like they are moving in a more cerebral social circle. Yes. There was a Twitter comment this weekend about people who are just not good at critical thinking, how they don't like to feel dumb, so they want to feel brave, and they do stuff like this, or like that stuff they saw this weekend. Jessica, I couldn't agree with you more, right? Moving in a more cerebral social circle. Meanwhile, you all look out of your mind. Absolutely. Good morning, Michelle. Emily Kerr. There it is, Emily. And I haven't been tracking Emily's work. When I would just say that when because it's not so much that I called her out, but I gave her feedback. And the fact that she never, at that point, she might have moved on because she's got a family now. But I really do value that she listened, and not so much that I'm telling her. It was a conversation that I felt like it was that ebb and flow that I expected from other people like her, from other nonprofit leaders like her. And that was it was a rarity to have someone that, and she was so faith-based, and usually faith-based people, even though I was a Sunday school teacher the year 1996, there's so many faith-based people who reject who reject my messaging, of course, because I use profanity. I'll call Nancy Meese a bitch. I know that that's probably not biblical, but I'm sure I can find some verses that show a couple Christians cussing out somebody. But no, I just really, this really resonated with me because this woman is going to be seen credible way before me. And the work of yoga Charleston, QAnon yoga Charleston, is going to be seen more credible because it's palatable, because it's pretty, and because we want to aspire to look like these women who have disposable incomes because their partners are immensely wealthy and well positioned in society. And a lot of these women are married to men or partnered with men, right? And that's another complexity too. Because they're, it's not biblical. It's not. Calling Nancy Meese a bitch is not biblical. Sorry. Let me just play a little bit more.
But corporations don't believe her.
Rant a little bit.
Facebook, which owns Instagram, announced in August they were cracking down on all QAnon-related content. Over the next few months, they purged over 18,000 accounts, including hers. Facebook told Vice News that Miller's accounts were disabled for, quote, violating our policies, specifically for representing QAnon.
Too little, too late.
As I opened my Instagram, it kicked me out and unlogged me, and it says your account's been disabled for 30 days. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, my followers.
Why is it important for these platforms to shut them down?
I actually am not sure they should shut them down. Shutting them down pushes them
That's a t-shirt, Nicole.
into other corners of the internet. And it's also giving them fuel to think that there's a reason. Why would they shut me down? I'm just trying to save some children. Why would they shut me down? It's because they're against me. It's because they're involved.
Right, it makes it worse.
Miller and her friends, who bonded over fighting pedophiles, are now bonding over anger against these companies.
Trump flags.
I'm on my 4th account.
Look where she lives.
So I've been censored and deleted multiple times. They really did play themselves, purging and constantly purging, because if you go to your if you go to your favorite account and then they're gone and you know what they've been posting, you're like, they were onto something. Yeah. So it's just like checkmate.
They look the same. She's just brunette.
If you can get deleted on social media,
she doesn't,
you hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
You're creating the jackpot because
what do you mean?
That you were threatening.
American Soldier Network. Why are they dressed like they're going to war?
People now don't trust the media, don't trust the news, and the people that do, they're really asleep. They're really asleep.
But they're comfortable being
they're
asleep.
okay being that way. But I just think it's to the point where people aren't listening to the news. Like, we are the news now. I think when all these things broke wide open, and
she ain't lying. I'm agreeing with her emphatically because she's not lying. Part of it is because legacy media and corporate media is bullshit. Y'all know that. I come at it every day. I come forward every day. But I'm not. The space I'm trying to occupy is not to just, I want to be more dominant and be more, I want to be louder and have more of a presence in legacy media. No, I'm trying to deepen my understanding. I'm trying to deepen community, right? Now, people like her, they're anti-intellectual and ultimately anti-authority. That's why they're thinking wearing a mask is tyranny. Sweetie Bop, wearing a mask is not tyranny. It's not. Your kids getting vaccinated is not. It wasn't tyrannical when you got your damn shots or when your great granny got her polio shot, right? It's not tyranny, but they're very anti-authority and anti-intellectual, and that's why that's the other thing. So that trash black influencer class used to always come at me for reading books. That's what, and I'm in my late 30s. I'm like, wait a minute, they just made a sub, they just subtweeted me because I read. And I was like, I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm solid motherfucking gold. I'm platinum. Because the fact that you hate on me because I use a library card, and it's not like I'm acting like I'm smarter than anyone. I'm encouraging you all to read with me half the time. And it was just when I started seeing that black influencer class come at me, was like, yeah, so what you read? So what you read a book? You brought a book. And one dude who called me ugly, he was like, it's the black man too. He was like, you came to the microphone with a book. You read from a book. Yeah, I wanted to quote Septima Clark precisely, and I didn't commit it to memory. What's the problem? So it reminds me of what I'm hearing on this couch here of how anti-intellectual this type of rhetoric is. Let me see. Nicole, you said ain't gonna lie. Tell me not to give someone else, right? Wait, ain't gonna tell me not to give. So right, I got you. I read that completely wrong. I'm too souped up. Anyway,
I truly believe when Trump got into office, and like Hillary, and like why they were fighting so hard to like not put him in office, and what she's a part of,
and what they're
like,
going to expose.
If you know, look up frazzle drip and all the things.
What is that? It's awful.
It's awful. That's a really dark place
I'm
to
glad
start, but it's
that.
really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, satanic ritual and what they do to children. And like, nobody wants to say that it's true.
That's because it's not true. Frazzle Drip is the name of a bizarre faked video that supposedly shows Hillary Clinton torturing a child and drinking her blood as part of a satanic ritual. The people who really believe that might want to risk everything to stop it. And anyone who's been following these pastel QAnon influencers wasn't surprised by what went down on January 6th. In fact, it had been signposted on Miller's Instagram.
Look at that.
We caught up with her again the week after the attempted
okay, a little
coup.
More.
Let's talk about
I forgot
one of
they
the
had
posts you
J6
put
in
up
here.
right before January 6th. You posted this picture of you at the Lincoln Memorial, and you captioned it, "The Storm."
Well, it looked like a storm, but I felt like it's a storm of like energy. Like everyone keeps saying, you know, the storm is going to come. We're all going to rise up. We're all going to feel like we need to stand up for ourselves.
The storm is actually one of the most core QAnon phrases, and it means it's shorthand for a day of reckoning, when a violent day of reckoning.
Okay. I was like, I've never heard that before.
Lioness.
I'm actually in shock.
Where do you hear these?
She needs to go back to reality, because at least on reality shows you don't have to act. So that crap acting, well, I've never heard of this. I had 90,000 followers on Instagram. I've never heard of that. This is a perfect time to recommend my favorite book of the moment that I'm still taking my time. Let me put it up close. They Were Her Property. When you see women like this try to rationalize the bullshit, the hate speech, the violence that they've perpetuated, and then they can hide behind glamour, they can hide behind attractiveness and desirability, you'll understand like how we got to a place where we think that this is not just as violent as KKK Corey or a Bear Spray Bessinger. All right, I want to bounce out in the interest of time. I could watch that. I haven't watched that since it came out, and I'm like, what the hell, right? So, now I want to get back to Charleston. It's important. So getting back to Charleston, recommended reading though. Read that Atlantic piece here. This is where I took the image from. And it says, the women making conspiracy theories beautiful. How the domestic aesthetics of Instagram repackaged QAnon for the masses, right? Not just conspiracy theories, y'all. Hate speech and white supremacy, right? So that's one article y'all should read. Rolling Stone, cancel, get out of here. Rolling Stone wrote this article back last year. Pastel QAnon is infiltrating the natural parenting community. Now, this is also a fear. I saw this a lot too, and there's an intersection with the Black community. There's a faction of the Black community here. When COVID popped off, I saw it a lot. That's very connected to nature, connected to a way of living that they grew up with, that I'm familiar with. When I would spend summers in either South Carolina or North Carolina, like, you know, going out to the chicken coop and getting eggs for breakfast from my great aunt Goldie's chicken coop, living off the land, a little bit of, you know, maybe a little maybe a little vegetable garden or what have you. And like, so I've seen this resurgence in trying to and rightfully so, tie Gullah to that tie Gullah to that natural, more plant-based lifestyle. But what I'm seeing too that's concerning is this rejection of science. Now you can condemn Western medicine all day. I'm right there with you. But when you start, like, Western medicine and science are two different things. Western medicine and science are two different things. And I think we have a tendency to romanticize you know, that way we used to live off the land and midwifery. I've spoken at length about Maud Callan. But within those groups, I'm seeing a lot of CMOS talk. CMOS ain't gonna clear up that COVID infection in your lungs, right? Sea moss and drinking almond milk. That ain't gonna inoculate you from diseases. And I think it's okay to have a plant-based diet. It's okay to believe in birthing your child at home. Oh, please, absolutely. But it's not okay to assert that to bring some of this QAnon conspiracy shit. The government's out to kill you. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. You can talk about Western medicine. We could talk about how we don't have access to healthcare. We could talk about all of that all day long. We could talk about capitalism. We could talk about all of that. Right? We could talk about bodily autonomy. But what we ain't gonna do is act like growing cabbage in my yard is gonna keep me healthy. That's not a vaccine. Like, there's this dude on Twitter this week was eating aloe whole. Aloe tastes disgusting. Aloe tastes disgusting. The whole leaf. Eating it, talking about this is my vaccine. Now, granted, he might have been joking, but to a lot of people that resonated with people. So it's not just about these pretty white women. It's also this herbal durable. I call it herbal durable. Hotep black community that's embracing a lot of this anti-science rhetoric as well. And that's when I fear, like, that's when you get the black MAGA coming in. So you got black MAGA coming in, and then he's coming in with his black nationalist politics that's steeped in bullshit. And people say, oh, well, you're black and you're talking like this, and it must be. No, that's why you can't be tribal. What's up, Susanna? People talk about the vaccine and big pharma, like big pharma doesn't also make drugs they give unvaccinated people. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the other part. Like absolutely. I have an immune system. Sea moss and crystals ain't saving you from COVID. Anyway, Rolling Stone wrote this article. I haven't read this one though. The Vox one I did, but this one I haven't. But it was good to see people talk about that whole natural parenting part, right? This article, I just stumbled across this morning, but this, of course, piqued my interest. And we're gonna get to Charleston. We're getting there. Okay. So this is, I think this is the Australian-based outlet here, but it says Pastel QAnon, the female lifestyle bloggers and influencers spreading conspiracy theories through Instagram. And I just really encourage you to think a little bit, again, more critically about the content you're consuming. And stuff like, okay, Pastel, this is the last one. Pastel, this is good. Let me blow this one up. Let me blow it up a couple more times. Okay. Pastel QAnon, where pro-Trump conspiracy theories meet New Age spirituality. So now that's a great segue into Marrianne Williamson. So almost a couple years ago, I think a couple years. Yeah. Marrianne Williamson was running for to secure the Democratic nomination for president, right? So she had one major event here in Charleston, and because it was outside of OWN, I said, well, I'm gonna go, because at that point I've been going to each and every candidate appearance that I could. I would go to each and every candidate appearance that I could and cover it from like a journalistic standpoint. And so I knew nothing. When I tell you zero about Marrianne Williamson, I knew nothing about this lady. Nothing. And then you do your Googles. I'm doing my Googles on my phone while I'm in there. Because why? Because the fucking workshop, the space we were in was packed with white women. Packed with white women. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Packed. And so I'm like, what is this? Let me see if we can get a video. When she came, let's see if this is it. Let's see if they have a video or just a thumbnail. Let's see. I think it's just a story. I was trying to find video. If I'm gonna go to a Sinclair station, you gotta give me video. Let me see. Oh wait, yeah. Let me see. Oh, this looks like a Facebook feed. This is at Dell's. Oh, shout out to my peoples. I love y'all. Some of y'all, I love y'all in here. But this is what, and this to let me just break it down too. all of these camps were just trying to find the most influential Black person and just stand next to them for optics. All of them, even your fave, even my fave. That was the game. To use the influencer model to y'all know I was a speechwriter for one of Elizabeth Warren's most popular surrogates here in the area, right? So I get how they use the influencer model to get the word out, to help spread the word, to advance the messaging, right? That looks like my surrogate mama's friend, but we know who this is. Hey, Nashonda, I love Nashonda. Got so much love for Nashonda. I'm rooting for. Love Nashonda. No, enough pie. Get out of here. But this is Marrianne Williamson at a Black-owned business
in our Charleston community. We'll get to introducing you guys in a second. And then at the end of us discussing things, you guys will be able to ask a few questions. Just make sure you keep your questions and answers less than 45 seconds for the sake of time. Marrianne Williamson, if you guys did not know about her, she is a author, I think of about 12 to 13. 14 books. Oh, 14, my bad. 14 books. She is also a New York Times best-selling author.
I'm gonna stop this for a second, because I want to go to the episode that Evelyn put me on. Let me just give y'all a background on Marrianne Williamson, because this episode, y'all subscribe to Maintenance Phase. I never thought I would like to listen to white people kiki so much in my life, at all. Hold on, okay. I'm gonna fast forward it.
Russian Jewish immigrants.
Then all of those things will go away.
Yeah.
It is another example of the stories that wealthy people tell themselves about how
a little bit about Marrianne
to justify their own position, even though they don't realize that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see how this is helping lay the...
Hold on, I want to make sure you can see the synopsis here. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. See if I hope it doesn't obscure. Let's see, it might. All right, so here it says for the last year, spiritual leader Marrianne Williamson made headlines when she ran for president. But 10 years earlier, she wrote best-selling book that promised to teach readers how to surrender their weight forever. And again, this podcast really talks about the fat-phobic culture within diet culture and all that, fat-phobic messaging and harmful rhetoric, self-hating language within diet culture. And they love going into the 90s, which is super dope, right? But they looked at her prior, they took a deeper look. So, but 10 years earlier, she wrote a best-selling book that promised to teach readers how to surrender their weight forever. This week, the hosts, Mike and Aubrey, take a deep dive into Williamson's life story and her 2010 book, A Course in Weight Loss, right? And so they do that, but what I was interested in was more so the conversation regarding Marrianne Williamson and her origin story. Let me fast forward just a little bit.
The kooky, anti-vax, adjacent, left-wing woo-woo stuff. And I remember my overall impression was that, people I knew from the East Coast were like, who is this woman? She is totally off of her rocker. And people I knew from the West Coast were like, a person like this is my medical doctor. That was the American divide at that time.
She's like the human equivalent of one of those T-shirts that's like a wolf howling at the moon.
Yes.
And Williams are very important. She studied theater and philosophy for 2 years, and then Bad Boys and Good Dope.
Okay.
Gospel
it's fun.
stuff. Another sort of epiphany. She calls it a flash when she decides to move to Los Angeles.
All right,
so she moves
listen.
out to Los Angeles in 1983. She shared an apartment with a roommate when she moved there. She sort of talks very proudly about moving out to Los Angeles with $1,000 in her pocket.
That sounds fake. Those stories are always fake.
They're always fake.
Wasn't she running a successful business? She would have had enough money to do this.
So she moves out to LA. She gets an apartment. She gets a roommate. That roommate is 17 years old and she was 31, which is a little odd.
Oh, wow.
That roommate is also Laura Dern.
No way.
Skip. Hold
and
on.
over time, she starts sort of breaking from the Christianity only approach of A Course in Miracles. And she starts weaving in Judaism and Buddhism and sort of pop psychology. She'll weave in some sort of 12-steppy kind of stuff. She, at this point, is giving these lectures and these prayer groups for a suggested donation, and she didn't turn people away for lack of funds. Based on everything I've read, that remains.
Okay, so again, go to Maintenance Phase, download the episode after you download mine, and subscribe and rate mine. Listen to Maintenance Phase and listen to this episode. And also listen to all that stuff about Oprah. Super good. Super, super good. And I love that they bring in a black voice, presumably black. I believe it is a black voice, to talk about the Oprah stuff with them. Is really good. Maintenance Phase, all right? So really kooky, spiritual, crystals and light and love, right? So I have not watched this, but let's get back into it real quick.
Also a Democratic presidential candidate, and she's a very amazing spiritual advisor.
Marrianne, I'm going to fast forward you.
Of the sort of revolutionary cultural and social and political change going on here today. So thank you for the work that you're doing. To me, what is happening in the changes, how we're viewing food, how we're viewing policy, how we're viewing our lives in relation to the earth. And
so, for those who don't know, Del's on the Making is owned by Smarrell. Smarrell's mother, both Smarrell and her mother are prominent black women in the food space here in Charleston. And this was a vegan restaurant. So I also get the appeal of why Marrianne Williamson went to a vegan restaurant that was also owned by a black woman. It was like the perfect recipe for her to be here.
Each other.
So I'll just say that
is part of a large shift going on the planet. This has to do with a real fundamental change.
Again, I'm only really friends with one person in this image. I love Nashonda. That's it.
Change from 20th century to 21st century thinking. I was just visiting the Freedom School, the Metanoia project that has to do with helping these children.
And that's the thing too. Del's was in the space. Del's on the Making was in a problematic space adjacent to part of a Metanoia project that was hugely problematic. Metanoia is a nonprofit that was just gentrifying the hell out of North Charleston, and a lot of the work they do, they use black faces to really. They use black faces all the while they're part of the forces, and maybe Anna Marks, you keep me honest. I believe like Metanoia and whatnot, they're kind of entangled in all that privatization, other types of interests. Very problematic, right? So I'm gonna stop that there because I can't. Yes, thank you, Anna Marks. All right, so what I want to do is get back to the workshop event that I was at. I was not here. I did not go to Del's on the Making. I don't know how they fit everybody in that space. But I want to get back to the event where, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the news thing. D, you were there? You heard the event she had at Fleet Landing during her presidential run, where she didn't let anyone black speak. Oh, very problematic. I met her too after so after she spoke at workshop. Let me see if I can find it. After she spoke at workshop. Wow. I'm trying to find it. Oh. I'm telling you, there was a picture. I found a picture this morning. I saw it. Let me see. Right here. Okay, so let me see. Oh, it was two. Okay, there was two. Open image. So this was inside. Oh God, can't even see it. It's so tiny. This was inside workshop. Still tiny. And because it's really small back quality. So I'm oh, I can see the back of my head. I'm over here. And I mean, I've never seen workshop this packed on the inside, right? This is the OM Radio Cube where I would do my show. And she had just finished interviewing with, can somebody guess? Is it Good Cookies? Oh, is it Free Cookies? They just finished interviewing with a local, and I don't know too much about I know Kate Fagan because I'm a sports fan. I don't know about Catherine. Is it Buddig? I don't know about her. I know Kate Fagan because Kate is on ESPN for years. Now she's doing other things. But she was, so they had just did this podcast episode with the Free Cookies podcast. Here, yep, Life, Liberty, and Cookies with Marrianne Williamson. And first of all, I didn't even know about that podcast when it started. But Kate, and this is no shade to Kate, or Catherine, I don't know, what's her name?
So in my research of the pastel Q, I found this video from Vox that I want you to check.
Here we go. So this is Catherine's page. She's based here in Charleston, even though it doesn't say it here. She's based here in Charleston. Catherine Buddig? Is that her? How you say it, rather? So, I think she did follow me. Now she doesn't. Does she? Let me make it smaller. She might have stopped following me. But yeah, so based here, and you kind of get the aesthetic. This is no shade. It's just observation. No shade. There's Kate Fagan. There's Kate. Cute. But you know, does a lot of yoga. I never took any of her classes or anything like that. That's a very impressive pose. Extraordinarily impressive. Right? But they have a presence here. I don't know if they have multiple homes. Oh, this is my girl Ashley Limehouse here. Right? See this? This is why I start taking a closer look. And be like, okay, what we doing? Right? Leverages a lot of her platform toward these causes that are like seemingly unoffensive. They don't have I'm not asserting that this is pastel Q, y'all. What I am asserting is that there's a link between some of the empty calorie type of conversations and work being led by folks who have a very specific aesthetic themselves. And it's embraced. Like, it's very much embraced. A lot of this content is embraced, and it's a lot of frivolity and fun and bright colors and virtue signaling, right? A lot of virtue signaling, but are people holding them accountable for like your conversation with Marrianne Williamson? Are people able to listen to this
I'm
content?
Catherine Budig. And I'm Kate
Budig.
Fagan. And this is Free Cookies, a humorous podcast filled with thoughtful conversations and offering delicious takeaways.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I ain't got time and energy. But you feel what I'm saying? Am I losing some of y'all? And again, I'm not coming at Budig's neck. I'm not coming at Kate Fagan's neck. I'm just saying this is what's largely acceptable in Charleston. And so you can have a whole interview with Marrianne Williamson, and she can talk about spirituals, and she can talk a lot of stuff. And I don't know if they did, because this is a hour-long episode. I don't know if they talked about her, her fat phobic books that she's put out, a lot of the unfounded science that she's because she's really anti-vax adjacent to, if not explicitly anti-vaccination, right? And so I just but this is the work, and this is the thing that's largely accepted. And there's one question I wanted to beg this morning to you all, right? I prompted it in my I prompted you all in my email this morning. Charleston, girl, you okay? Girl, you okay? Because we have this hugely influential wellness culture here, yet I don't see them really doing anything but paying lip service to and putting out pretty Instagram posts. I don't really see any work. I don't really see any real damning conversations in a place like Charleston where, the oppression is accessible. Like you could just talk, you would go off every day and just go off on a riff, on a rant about any of the oppressive forces here. And I'm very leery of people who live in Charleston and create almost completely positive, pristine. Now, granted, she's got a brand. Let me see if she got a personal account up here. Let's see if she's got a personal account. Like something that's not her brand. Now, everything in here is associated with the brand. This is the Free Cookies podcast, right? I'm very leery of people who live in Charleston, who work in Charleston, who have podcasts, who have live recordings of podcasts in Charleston, but yet you won't condemn practices. You won't really go at the things that make it hard for people like me to live in Charleston. They got 9/11 posts here too. Oh my gosh. Right. And to me, the work that has to be done here in Charleston is not Instagrammable. It can't be put into a meme. It just makes me question, like, you support Afghanistan women, and that's cool. I don't even know anything about this cause. I don't know anything about the House of Phoenix. I don't know anything about that. And y'all tell me, is it unfair for me to expect them? Is it unfair for me to expect them to occupy a certain space here? Is it unfair for me to expect them to indict white supremacy? Oh, okay. That's fine. It's not even, again, it's fine. Thank you for the full disclosure. Let me see. Honor Marks QAnon elderberry is Sea Island Organics. What? Middle-aged white lady? Oh, what did you say? What? What's Sea Island Organics? What's that? All right, okay, Denise, you're saying no, right? I got you. Yeah. Yeah, it just feels a little, and maybe, and I don't expect when I see a white woman with this type of platform and influence, and then see how many friends and followers we have in common, right? So, and I'm not coming at any of my followers at all, right? Again, it's people that I follow and stuff, you know. I just really, really expect them to do more than just Instagram things, or just, I don't know. It's just, so to me it is basic. That is the hardest, I guess, I'll come at it today. It's basic. It's basic. It has no real, it's fluff, but maybe that's okay. Maybe fluff is okay. And so I the question I want to beg is, like, are we well? Is this culture, are these practices, are they making us a better Charleston? Maybe they're not trying to make it a better Charleston. Cool. But why do they, when things become trendy, when Sha'Carri Richardson becomes trendy, and there's complexity around, the decriminalization of marijuana, and a black girl with tattoos and orange hair, when these things involving race, class, and punitive measures aimed at people on the margins, when you engage in that, when you tiptoe into that, I am looking for you to say something or to do something a little bit more substantive than to just mention the issue or the ism, right? That's just me. Key, you said exactly, they do nothing. And again, I'm not saying, I'm sure Catherine has given resources. I'm sure she's donated. I'm sure she has used her platform to elevate black yogis. But again, that piece is performative, and there's a whole culture there. And I think that if we're not pushing prominent voices to do more, man, maybe she might just be a brand. She just might be a brand. I'm gonna get off her specifically for someone accuses me of coming at her neck. But there was this other post here. I remember this. I think this was at the yoga studio. I think my friend Kate went to this one. So this was, Lord have mercy. All right, I'm gonna see if I can read the caption. Hold on one second. This is from Marianne's page. It was wonderful discussing politics at the Still Soul Yoga Studio in Charleston, South Carolina. I talked about how Gandhi said, politics should be sacred, not dominated by religious dogma. Girl, you made your millions off religious dogma. Girl, go on. And I'm telling you, y'all, the women came out. And I went up to her and I went to Marrianne Williamson at workshop. I said, why? I said, you're talking about reparations. Denise, to your point, I thought she was a good candidate. At one point, she almost had me, right? But I went up to her and I'm like, why don't you have any black people on your staff? Not even one black intern to give you the sign-up sheet. Like, I'm like, why don't you have any black representation if you're going to talk about these black? And then, to her credit, she did have, in the interim stages, she had what's the woman's name? She ran for governor real quick. Oh, I can't remember her name. Black woman. She had one black person, like, somewhat on her team, but it was in the early stages where she wasn't sure whether or not she was going to join the team. I can't remember her name. Do you probably remember her? She ran for office. She was progressive. She had secured office in Georgia, but she was running for office here a couple times. I want to say she ran for Congress, and I want to say she tried to run for governor. The black one, I can't remember, but you know, I saw really quickly what it was really about. When I was at the event and listened to her entire speech and her presentation, and then the questions, y'all. So I went because I'm in politics mode. I want to know more about this woman as a candidate for president, right? I'm gonna go to her. Actually, gonna renew this search right here and go to Marrianne's page when she was in Charleston, right? So this is her at Marrianne Williamson at Unity Charleston. Marrianne Williamson in Rock Hill. All right, we'll click on this real quick. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, of course. But I listened to her entire presentation, and I'm there to know more about her as a candidate. And I shit you not, a lady that identified herself as like a horse yogi. I think she said she does equine Reiki massage. No, not Cynthia McKinney. I'll figure it out. I want to say that she did equine Reiki massage. And I was like, and the conversations that these white women, they packed out this hall, and you've got the captive attention of one of the more attention-grabbing primary candidates. And you're going to ask her about animal rights. And that's the type of conversations that was being had. And I don't even know, I kid you not, it had to be horse wellness. It was definitely horse wellness. And I'm like, oh, these are the women she's bringing. Okay, these are the women she is attracting. These are the women that I'm like, and then my friend Kate had to put, who is a yogi herself. She does the poorhouse on the deck at the, she does yoga on the poorhouse deck every, what is that, Sunday morning. Shout out Kate. And Kate was like, Mika, she's really big in wellness culture here. Really big, really popular. They love her here. And she started to have all these private home, or at least I saw a number of private home meetups with people like the owners of Still's yoga studio, so on and so forth. Had no clue who she was, right? And it just was really weird to hear from the women you got the rapt attention of someone so important that could potentially be important, and y'all were asking her about horse wellness and stuff like that. And I realized that they were just there. They were just fans. They were just consumers. They were people who subscribed to her brand. But when you search, let me go back and to the search. When you search Marrianne Williamson, in Charleston, what comes up here? Right here. Boom. Boom. CVB. Tears to Triumph, Marrianne Williamson. So this was her Lance Hall on Meeting Street. So she came here one time. And when I started, like, I didn't know this at the time. I learned this morning. But when I learned, why is it always cut off like that? When I learned that Marrianne Williamson, $200. This was in 2017. It's way before she ran for president. Got it. $200. Damn, what's she doing? But when I saw, okay, CVB was embracing her spiritual mess, and then is that okay? I see Sophia Institute here. Is that the full disclosure D? Yep. No shade. No shade. It just made me think like, wow, okay. This is really interesting. There's a whole subsection of Charleston that's really receptive to the type of self-help wellness. I don't want to call it jargon, but this is an industry. So then y'all remember, okay, I talked about this really early on. So there's another one. I don't know much about Glennon Doyle. I just know that when I was at the Center for Women, the one event as the interim program manager, the one event that they kept trying to replicate was when Glennon Doyle came to Charleston. I think she came to the music hall. All right. I think she came to the music hall. And she like Marrianne Williamson is big with and I used to be kind of receptive to Glennon Doyle because Glennon Doyle would talk about race. I started seeing this thing like where these attractive Oprah adjacent people like Marrianne Williamson, like Glennon Doyle could talk about race in a way that you don't see a white woman talk about. It is refreshing. So like, again, to Denise, to your point, I was receptive to Marrianne Williamson. Even after the workshop, I said, let me lean in and listen. Was never like trying to vote for her, nothing like that, or work for her. I was actually offered a job by her campaign. Say absolutely not. But I was like, well, let me hear her out, right? Because sometimes, believe me, the prominent candidates that you think are so credible, shit show behind the scenes. So to me, it wasn't unrealistic or out of this world to literally try to listen to Marrianne Williamson and to hear whether or not she really had a solid platform. Like, you have to listen. I'm telling you, the most impressive candidates that you can think of, shit show behind the scenes, right? So yeah, the crystal rubber, I'm going to listen because maybe she's got something. She got all these white women in here. She's saying something. And when she started talking about their reparations, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And then you realize where she's coming from. This is all PR. It's all kind of part of a larger point. But this is Glennon Doyle.
First read really Glennon Doyle Melton's book, Love Warrior.
Woo! I think I shared this clip.
I knew this girl.
I think I shared this clip.
She was funny and she was wise and she felt like a friend. To me, Glennon spoke for so many people who don't feel brave enough to speak their own truth. And after sitting down with her on Super Soul Sunday,
y'all listen to the Maintenance Phase podcast because Oprah loves some crackery, y'all. Let me get to Glennon Doyle because now we know she's Oprah adjacent.
And finding myself decide that I wanted to become a mother. But at that point, I'd been
didn't Glennon leave her husband and now she's dating Abby the soccer chick, the amazing soccer athlete? She left her husband, right? Wasn't that big news that she left her husband and everybody was like, oh, like as if sexuality is not fluid.
Addict.
Yeah. Married to Abby.
15 years, so I didn't even know how to be a human being.
Yeah.
So I decided that my best bet would be
not
just
hating
to
at
fake
all.
it,
I love Abby.
To just look around for other women who seem to be adulting successfully, and just copy them. So my criteria was that I looked for women who were wearing scarves.
All right, I'm gonna reduce this a little bit.
Right, because
I'm trying to reduce it. I don't know what happened. Probably got too much going on. Let me close out this. Boom. Let me close out Instagram. Well, no, I might want to go to her page. I'll close it out. I'm doing a lot. The computer's telling me, Mika, you're doing a lot. Please close the Cookies podcast, please. All right. I can close this out. We're not doing anything with the newspaper today. All right, let's. Can I just close out? Let me do this. Glennon Doyle. I want to get that one sound bite about white feminism. I want to get that one sound bite from the same stage. Here it is. The 2-minute clip.
Okay, so I need to talk to the white women for a minute, okay?
This is when I perked up. I'm like, what?
We're gonna talk, okay? So, I know that many of us are feeling alone and ignored and threatened and abused, and we're feeling like our bodies are being threatened and that our children's education is at risk. And
at the time, I thought this was fire. I ain't gonna lie.
And that our degradation and our objectification and our discrimination has become normalized and accepted in ways that are chilling. And this is painful. But what we need to remember is that this is just a touch of the pain that so many marginalized people in this country have been feeling for ages.
Now, I do understand that women in this country, women in the world, definitely face oppression, right? The patriarchy is on our motherfucking necks. I get that. But white women... Read this book, y'all. This world was created to protect. I didn't like how she just centered white women just then. I like how she validated, hey, I know y'all up against things, sexism, misogyny, chauvinism, all types of stuff, right? The patriarchy, again, is a sick motherfucker. But the way she centered white women to make this point, if you hold it up to today's standards, it don't hold up.
Right? For Black people and brown people and trans people and gay and people and Muslim people and Native American. This is
also very much virtue signaling. So I'm gonna talk about all this stuff, but what is the actual practice? What are my practices when I come to Charleston? What am I doing outside of selling books and selling a certain aesthetic too? And again, I want to point out, even Marrianne Williamson is a woman of a certain age, but she's always had a certain type of petite frame. She, as the Maintenance Phase podcast will tell you, she's very fat phobic. Like her values are steeped in fat phobia, and very, very harmful rhetoric, right? Like there was one exercise where she encouraged you to find the body you want in a magazine, like a fashion model. Find the body you want, your ideal body, cut the head off, then get a picture of yourself, cut the head off, put your head on the picture of the celebrity's body and put it throughout the house. Like Maintenance Phase will say it way better than I just did. That's what Marrianne Williamson was spouting in some of her most popular books. And so why am I bringing it up? Because again, you see there's an aesthetic to credibility that is wrapped in thinness and desirability. And if you're desirable, if you've got toned shoulders and arms after having kids, especially that snapback bullshit, I don't like saying that snapback, right? If you've got that look, it gives you automatic credibility. And also, if you listen to how like Oprah talks about herself in the past, Oprah has always struggled. I don't like to say this. I don't want to say struggle with weight. Oprah has always, we've seen Oprah admit that she struggles with weight, and we've seen that Oprah has lost and gained weight in significant ways over the years. And if you go back and revisit, like Maintenance Phase does, revisits a lot of Oprah's interviews where she talks about her weight loss and weight gain, especially when she was starving herself. You hear her talk about herself in such hateful ways. Now, I know Oprah regrets that now, but that's at the bedrock, I think, still. I think if you look at a lot of Oprah's content, she tends to gravitate to a certain type of woman that I feel like Oprah aspires to be, almost. And I'm not saying that Oprah aspires to be white, but I am. But there is something that I feel like Oprah really, outside of Iyanla and Maya Angelou, who are Black women doing way too much emotional labor for the country, outside of that, though, I don't know. Oprah seems to promote this type of person that promotes this type of wellness. They look a certain way.
Americans and
I don't know if that
people,
makes sense.
Right? This is just a touch of what they've been feeling. And what sucks is that it took us being personally affected to finally show up. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so we cannot show up for the movement and say, here we are, until we say, we are so damn sorry it took us so long.
That top was a choice. That top was a real choice.
And then when we are speaking against, we better not speak against misogyny if in the same breath we're not also speaking against transphobia and homophobia and racism
Very good.
and classism and poverty in the same breath, because this is one fight.
B-man.
It always has been. And so when women say to me, when white women say to me, how do I lead? Where do I begin? I say, you do not lead. And you don't begin anything. The fight for civil rights is not new. We're just new to it, right? And the generals of justice have always been and will always be the women of color, right? So what you do is you learn about Shirley Chisholm and you learn about Maya Angelou, and you learn and you learn.
And let me tell you,
you learn.
2017 Meek was standing up, clapping, saying, yes, Glennon, yes, right? And not only that, and I'm gonna say this, I want to lean into what I think I was feeling, what I know that's still in there. Whenever I hear a white woman finally acknowledge my motherfucking experience, even in this really basic way that really just centers her, right? It feels good because it doesn't happen often. And so when you get a Marrianne Williamson coming in Charleston talking about reparations in Charleston, a white woman who's a New York Times bestselling author, multiple times. When you get a Glennon Doyle come to the music hall, come to the music hall, whatever, and say the thing and see you, it feels good. And I want to acknowledge the black women who buy the books and the black people who buy these books and who really enjoy this content. Please, it's okay. I want to tell you it's okay. Like with anything though, some stuff is the pretty little cupcake that I'm gonna eat for breakfast. Some stuff is just really satisfying, delicious, tantalizing, mouth-watering, light and fluffy, moist, cream-filled. And some stuff is the broccoli. Some stuff is okay. I gotta eat this. I gotta eat these green beans. Okay, with no pork in it. Okay. Some stuff is just gonna be more substantive, and it's gonna really do more than just be gratifying. It's going to really fortify, and it's going to bring you closer to dismantling or unpacking your own either white supremacy or unpacking your own issues or your own systemic. I don't want to use all this jargon just to say sound like I'm just rattling off shit. But there's some things that are going to bring you to a different type of enlightenment, and some things are going to help you navigate this world and to confront inequality and injustice when you see it. And it's okay to be a fan of Glennon Doyle. It's okay to be a fan of Marrianne Williamson. It's okay if you love equine Reiki massage. It's okay. It's just not the destination. It's not that. It just you know what I'm saying? It's the cosmic brownie of doing this work. It's the cosmic brownie, but you gonna need a balanced meal, right? Does that make sense? She does sound a little out of breath.
And then you learn about and follow Ava DuVernay and Alicia Garza and Carmen Perez and Linda Sarsour. You look at how they're fighting, and then you fight like they're fighting. Right? Because if our white feminism does not become intersectional, then it will be nothing.
And white feminism can't become intersectional. You actually need to reject white feminism outright. And that's part of the problem. So again, not hating on Glennon Doyle, not hating on Catherine Budig at all. Just trying to say are they, oh wow, she was on Ellen 3 months ago? That says a lot. And I want to bring it back to Charleston. Where is it at? Glennon Doyle Music Hall. And again, when I was working there, when I worked for the Center for Women, it was just that was the one event that we just kept trying to either replicate or we would reference because it was the most successful event that Center for Women did. And it's almost like chasing I'm trying to get to it. It's almost like chasing a hologram almost, because people were interested. You had consumers come, right? I think, I don't know. It really wasn't us trying to build out content or programs that actually met a certain women in Charleston at a very important place. I felt like a lot of our programming was designed to just pack out rooms and to meet that white woman who's probably a conservative voter, whose interests are probably not even in line with the staff of the Center for Women. I felt like we were just kind of just trying to pack out rooms and not necessarily trying to really occupy a very, outside of I want to say Jeanette, shout out to Jeanette, who was OG Center for Women I think, yeah. Let me bring out my am I in here? My picture, you know, I try not to, we all hypocrites at some point. But I'm trying to acknowledge, like, shout out to Jeanette Robinson Altman, who led the Center for Women. She was like the OG leader there, but I felt like a lot of the events was like, a lot of these events were really designed to just make white women feel more powerful or more seen and acknowledged. It really wasn't attacking or getting at the heart or the root of a lot of issues, if that makes any sense. I was trying to find a picture of me and Jeanette back to back, like Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. Like Danny Glover and Mel Gibson on Lethal Weapon cover. I'm trying to find it. It was for a magazine. Was it Skirt magazine? I think it was Skirt magazine. And we took these pictures and I was back to back with her. Let me see. I'll see. I can't type and talk. Damn, I've been eradicated. Did she scrub it? Usually, you know what? Usually when I search my name, it comes up by myself. Let me see. Nope. Nope. Anyway, and here comes all that Southern Charm bullshit. But anyway, Glennon Doyle was at the music hall and again saw that the CVB glommed on to it as well. Post and Courier. She coming back? Oh, she came back? Oh no, it's from 2015. Yeah. Got a Brene Brown write up. Carry On Warrior, the power of embracing your messy, beautiful life. This is really problematic self-help stuff. But yeah, Center for Women. Yeah. And I just want to know, like, are we better? Are we better for it all? Now I want to see if Tabitha, I don't know if Hafisa probably left us and went to work, but Tabitha Brown coming to Charleston, I have no clue about this. I'm not really familiar with Tabitha Brown. Oh, she's at the Gilliard? Tabitha Brown's, Tabitha Brown. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I think in partnership with Blue Bicycle Books, that's interesting. I think it's interesting. I mean, she's got to sell books and she's got seasoning lines. I like her overall personality. There's a lot of spiritual in there. There's a lot of, I know Wendy Williams really overstepped when she gave commentary about Tabitha and her husband. Her husband decided to retire. I do think Wendy's messy as hell, but I'm a Jersey girl, so I'm gonna always support Wendy. But I do think that Wendy was trying to say something. Wendy just can't, because she's just past her prime. I really wish y'all would have saw Wendy in her prime, but I think Wendy was trying to say something that is a valid critique. Now, I don't think that I would ever, if I had a popular daytime television show that's syndicated in multiple countries across the globe, I don't think I'd use my platform to talk about another woman's marriage unless it was like an elected official, like someone who was in the public, who's a public figure in that way that's significantly going to impact my life. I'm not going to ever just talk gossip about people's relationships, and I think Wendy overstepped her bounds there. But the critique about a woman retiring her husband, that's that. Shout out to Lynn who stopped by this Saturday. We talked about the LuLaRoe documentary on Netflix that I finished on almost one sitting. There was an element in that documentary where women were talking about, we're going to retire our husbands. So like that whole patriarchal, but this woman is very traditional, very Christian. So I get that. But I think there's something to talk about in terms of like a woman retiring her husband, how that can be a little problematic or whatever. But whatever your relationship, whatever works for your relationship, I don't care. Outside of that, I like Tabitha Brown. I think she's cute. I think she's cute, but I think that it's okay to look at the brand and to not hate on it and not criticize it for sport, but to look at whether or not is she peddling a lifestyle that's not really rooted in science. Is she, I think I've heard some things from Tabitha that suggest that she might be anti-behavioral meds for people who are suffering from mental illness. I know she's promoting the Goalie gummies. I eat Goalie gummies, ashwagandha all day. I think there's some critique there. When you have someone who's a vegan and very popularized, her vegan content is amazing. She's just every time I see her come across my feed, she reminds me of a family member. She reminds me of like a cousin or my late sister. If my late sister was here, I feel like, if my late sister was well and here, I feel like she would talk like Tabitha Brown. But yeah, I think whenever someone becomes a brand, and capitalism starts to come in there and it's not as pure as it once was, of course you can critique it, but I don't really have that much of a critique outside of she's a brand and it's okay, it's valid to critique her what she's saying, but the Feeding the Soul books and whatnot, I got to know more about the premise and whatnot. It's good to see Raphael James involved, but I would love, this is what I hate about Charleston, where are the Black women that can moderate these conversations? Shout out, I'm Raphael James gang all day, love to see him in prominent spaces, but it's like when Kamala Harris came and gave her first town hall in Charleston, and white boy Brady from the Charleston Democrats, he moderated the town hall. And I'm like, why is a white boy moderating the town hall with an AKA in Charleston? Septima Clark was an AKA. Septima Clark's history of fighting for electoral justice and electoral access. The Septima Clark used to have a prominent position with the YWCA. Why not involve the YWCA? Why not involve Black women? To talk to Kamala Harris, right? So I do question why Black women's voices, a strong Black woman host, is not outside of an anchor too. It's always an anchor woman. With shout out to Octavia and all them, but like, damn, can we just get like what y'all don't know any Black hosts, any Black radio personality? Chris Kalin is right there. Like y'all don't know any. Like it's always usually like I don't know. So I guess he's hosting. Okay. Yeah, maybe they know each other. I got some suspicions about Blue Bicycle Books. I don't bang with them. I don't bang with them at all. But they do a lot around Black authors. Like when they brought Charlemagne and stuff. Blue Bicycle Books, they on my radar. I ain't saying nothing yet, but they on my radar. Like they like to signal something, but I ain't really seeing enough reflected. No shade. Yeah, I think she does Goldie gummies. I think she does. Kia, I could have sworn I saw her talking about her mood. Her mood and all that. She's a brand. I like seeing women who are mothers. If this is her goal.
This is a Goalie apple cider vinegar gummies.
They got
Goalie gummies.
Goalie nutrition.
Goalie gummies. Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar.
No.
Goalie.
That's why Goalie created the world's first apple cider vinegar gummies.
When I try to drink it, it just like, even the gummy, they're jealous.
Just so you know, apple cider vinegar ain't gonna do shit for you. Ain't gonna detox you. Ain't gonna do nothing for your kidneys. Ain't gonna do none of that. No. Apple cider vinegar ain't. And I was a girl that woke up, didn't eat anything, intermittent fasting, drinking apple cider vinegar. It don't do nothing for you. It doesn't do anything for you. But I'm happy to see Tabitha, get your coin. Get your coin. If J-Lo can be out here with these gummies, Ellen can be out here with these gummies.
And the world needs to know about it.
Yeah, go get your coin. Yeah. Get your coin, Tabitha. Yeah, I take the I take the ashwagandha. I ain't gonna lie, but I just tried it. I just got a box this week. I just ordered my first box this week because I was taking ashwagandha in a capsule form and I really liked it. And so I said, let me try the gummies because I love gummies. I'm a kid. Y'all see me up here I got gummy candy. I got gummies coming out the woodwork. Like, I'm a Flintstones kid, right? I like fun vitamins and supplements. But like, yeah, I'm giving it a whirl, but and I do think that ashwagandha do be doing this thing for real. What's up, new follower? But you know, I don't know about no apple cider vinegar gummies though. I don't know. Cause I'm not sold on apple cider vinegar. And I was the apple cider vinegar gang. All right, I want to get back. I know I went all around the world, y'all. Sorry. But yeah, I wanted to just dismount and just say is all this wellness, is the Marrianne Williamson faction, is the Catherine Budig, the Glennon Doyle, Brown, Tabitha Brown. Is it making Charleston a better place? Is that approach, is that yoga approach, that influencer model, is it that, hey, let's create beautiful content, is that actually helping us find solutions to deal with white supremacy on a day-to-day basis, right? You said the ashwagandha don't do nothing for you? Yeah. The capsules that I took from Whole Foods, they was bomb diggity. But I'm just now eating the gummies. They just taste like delicious candy. So of course I'm in it. But yeah, I just want to know if it's making us better, right? I wanted to watch one clip. I think it was Allison Camerata right here. No. I think it was this clip right here about the whole QAnon and how it's appealing to women. And then we're going to get into the Murdaugh, and I'm going to say peace out. But let me just get here and watch this clip with y'all. It's rewound to the beginning.
Suburban mom Mindy Wilson was horrified when a 3-year-old died outside Pittsburgh, allegedly from child abuse. Then a comment on a local news story took her to an internet conspiracy phenomenon known as QAnon.
I believe some of the theories could be true. I believe some of them are great fairy tales, but it all ties together.
She's convinced of a completely
that's what I don't understand about certain times of women who, she just admitted that some of it is not real. It's not founded in truth or accuracy. And then she goes on and says, well, it all ties together. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why you would be part of something where some of it is false and some of it is fairy tales, as she called it, but yet you still are bought in. I don't understand how you make that trade-off. I don't understand how you don't mind riding in a car that's careening out of control, but because you got your seatbelt on, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I don't get that.
Founded tenet of QAnon that elite politicians and celebrities are running a child trafficking ring.
This don't make sense.
Hillary Clinton is involved in that. You've got a lot of professional movie stars and actresses and singers that are involved in that.
And if I were to say to you that everyone around them says these are rumors, these are conspiracy theories that are completely unfounded.
And that is a lie, because Hillary Clinton is on video. There is raw footage
of
her
frazzle
out
drip.
there torturing a little girl.
So if the former Secretary of State were sitting here and said, I've never harmed a child, that is not a real...
Am I good? I know I got a lot going on. Am I good?
Video, it's a fake video,
I would look her straight in the eyes and tell her that she's a liar.
She also believes the mainstream media is involved.
I can tell you that I personally know absolutely no fact to support what you're saying. I mean,
that's what the media is paid to say, and it's okay.
Professor Alice Marwick studies QAnon and says it's no accident they use the hashtag #SaveOurChildren to draw women in.
It's the sort of open doorway. And once you go through it, you find out about some of the more fringe aspects of QAnon.
Chloe Neely is a mom of 2.
Okay, I'm dropping frames. So I'm gonna back out of this. Yeah, I think I was doing a lot. I definitely was doing a lot. But I'm dropping, yeah. Yeah, so I might have to end it here and just take a break. I know what's going on. Yeah, but no, there is no video of there's some fake video that's out there. Frazzle Dreep, yeah, right. Media lies, so she goes on the media. Right, exactly. It's weird. It's very weird. And again, what I want to do is not. Why it's important for me to show this video and to show the everyday working class mom, everyday working class wife in suburbia. It's important to show that because I think we have not really played close enough attention to how this mom is in the wellness community, right? And I'm not trying to make it up. I'm trying to really kind of flesh it out. Sound like I'm like struggling, but like I'm trying to just flesh it out. But my signal's getting weak, so I might end it here. But yeah, it's really we've got to stop allowing the use of the word fringe to describe this behavior. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm at, right? It's not fringe, right? We definitely got to stop doing that, right? Thank you. Yeah, and I think people get mad when I call things dumb or stupid. It is dumb or stupid. I'm not in the business of trying to convince people about common sense things that you can find in a book. I'm not really, and I think a lot of this is willful ignorance. And I know some people don't believe in calling people dumb, but I will call these theories dumb. These are dumb theories. These are stupid theories. And I know that might alienate people, and people think you have to have Now, when I'm out in the street, I don't confront Q. At rallies, I don't confront Q. I don't call people, stop it, I know. I don't call people's names, but, it is stupid. All right, I'm going to end it there because my signal's weak for some reason. And I want to say thank you for just following me, following this conversation. I'm going to dismount with this one question. Is our wellness community making us a better place? Are we looking close enough at our wellness community and their adjacency? Yeah. Yeah. And in their adjacency to QAnon and other types of things. I think that's an important conversation to have. All right, I'm going to fix things on my end. I know what I need to do. I'm going to see you tomorrow, 7:30 sharp. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon, right? No one wants your kids. No one wants Booger Nose Bobby. All right? No one wants Booger Nose Bobby. Thank you for your support. Thank you for those who supported me, new Patreon subscribers. Thank you for those. Please listen to the podcast. I'm a little rusty. I didn't get into the Murdaugh stuff. But we'll probably, I don't know. Again, I really am not that interested. I know you probably say, yes, you watch me. You keep posting about it. I'm really not that interested. Like beyond, I love the deep dive. That shit is mad interesting. This was a real scandalous ass family, unjust. And I found a lot of evidence to prove that. So I might touch on it tomorrow, but have a good day, y'all. Take care of yourselves. I hope this was a substantive conversation. I hope you kind of got it, okay? Girl, are we well? Charleston girl, how we doing? Are we sick or what? All right, bye.